In the early years of the 20th century, New Orleans was a city alive with music, culture, and a thriving immigrant community. Jazz spilled into the streets from crowded clubs. The aroma of Creole cooking filled the air, and the city pulsed with energy day and night. But beneath this lively surface, a shadow was forming. By 1918, whispers of terror began spreading across the city, whispers that would soon give birth to the legend of one of America's most chilling unsolved mysteries, the Axeman of New Orleans. The terror began in May of 1918, when grocer Joseph Maggio and his wife Catherine were brutally attacked while sleeping in their apartment above the store. Their throats were slashed with a razor, and their skulls crushed with an axe. The murder weapon, an axe, was found discarded at the scene, but there was no clear motive. Nothing valuable had been stolen, and there were no signs of forced entry. The brutality of the crime shocked the city. The killer had crept into their home silently, attacked without mercy, and vanished into the night. Just weeks later, another Italian grocer, Louis Bessumer, and his mistress were attacked in their home. They survived, but both had been bludgeoned with an axe while sleeping. As the police investigated, they began to notice patterns. The victims were often grocers, many of them Italian immigrants. The attackers seemed to prefer using an axe, sometimes the victim's own, and he often left the weapon behind. Entry was usually gained by chiseling away panels from doors or windows, slipping inside quietly. Over time, fear spread like wildfire. Families armed themselves. Shopkeepers kept weapons behind their counters, and some people even began sleeping in shifts so that someone would always be awake to guard the household. Despite the precautions, the killer struck again and again. In August 1918, Anna Schneider, an 8 months pregnant woman, was attacked while sleeping in her bed. She survived, but the assault left her with deep gashes to her face and head. By now, newspapers were reporting on the killings almost daily, and the city was in a state of panic. The press gave the killer a name, the Axeman of New Orleans. Soon, the murders became not only gruesome crimes, but also the stuff of legend. What truly cemented the Axeman's infamy, however, was not just his violence, but a letter that arrived at local newspapers in March of 1919. Written in a bizarre and mocking tone, the letter was supposedly from the killer himself. It began by addressing the people of New Orleans directly and declared that he was a demon from the hottest hell. The writer claimed he could not be caught, and he mocked the police for their failure to stop him. But the most chilling part of the letter was a strange promise. The Axeman declared that on the following Tuesday night, he would roam the city again, ready to strike. Yet he offered a bizarre condition. Any house where a jazz band was played would be spared. The letter sent shockwaves through New Orleans. That Tuesday night, the city was alive with music. Families hired musicians to play in their homes, and jazz poured into the streets from every corner. Dance halls were filled, and bands played late into the night. Whether the Axeman truly walked the streets that evening, no one knows. What is known is that no murders occurred that night. The killer kept his word, or perhaps he never intended to strike at all. Still, the killings continued. Victims were bludgeoned or slashed, most often while sleeping. In one case, a young girl, sleeping beside her father, was struck but survived, later describing a dark figure looming over her before vanishing into the shadows. Fear once again gripped the community. Speculation about the killer's identity ran rampant. Some believed he was a lunatic with no motive but bloodlust. Others thought the killings were targeted, perhaps against Italian grocers, though no clear explanation ever emerged. A few even suggested the Axeman was tied to the mafia, though no evidence supported this. By late 1919, the attacks suddenly stopped as mysteriously as they had begun. The Axeman seemed to vanish without a trace. No one was ever arrested, and no definitive suspect was identified. Over the years, several theories have been proposed. Some pointed to a man named Joseph Mumford, who was later shot and killed by the widow of one of the Axeman's alleged victims. She claimed he had been responsible, though this was never proven. Others argued that the Axeman was not a single person, but perhaps a series of unrelated attacks grouped together by the press. Whatever the truth, the Axeman's legend grew. His terrifying letter, his connection to jazz, and his seemingly random violence all combined to make him one of history's most infamous unidentified killers. To this day, his crimes remain unsolved. The Axeman of New Orleans is remembered not just for the blood he spilled, but for the fear he inspired and the strange cultural imprint he left behind. For one night in 1919, an entire city played jazz not out of joy, but out of terror, hoping that music could ward off death. The killer's identity may forever remain a mystery, lost to history. But in New Orleans, where music still drifts through the streets and legends are told late into the night, the story of the Axeman endures, a chilling reminder that evil sometimes hides in the shadows, striking without warning and leaving only questions behind. Please subscribe for more true crime stories.